I wrote it in 37.5 seconds. It just came out in one breath. It was a gift from the stratosphere. Yeah, I don't mean to sound offensive, but there are no prisoners taken in this book. You know, they're all equal opportunity. So, you know, Jen is just as bad in her own. Oh, her emails are just preposterous, and everybody is writing the book. Yeah, yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I can't really answer it. But all I know is that I'm grateful for Jon Stewart.
Could you swear that you were not using Jean Ferraka? Even your voice sounded like that.
Even my voice sounded like Jean Ferraka. I did that for you, but you know, I've been reading this book around, and people who are not from Wisconsin say, "Oh, that's Terry Gross." So I mean, I think you just associate whoever your Wisconsin radio person is and say, "Oh yes, that's her." So no, I don't. You know, I don't really. For one thing, Jean Ferraka has very tidy hair, and Jennifer Rowley does not. When did I start reading, and what brought me to writing? You know, I grew up in a reading culture, and we didn't have a TV until I was about 14 or 12, and so I loved that feeling of being in this enclosed world that was where I could experience what felt like my best self, and that quality of solitude that only reading brings you. So, you know, and when a writer is writing, I think those same feelings are created. So, and my mother was a writer, my grandmother was a writer. I just sort of thought that that's what a girl child should do. Although I had been given the advice all the way along that it wasn't something you could do as a real profession, which is sound advice. DW.
If we can assume that you really didn't write that book in 37 seconds through some direct download to your computer from your brain, how long did it take you, and did you have like some false starts and dead ends before you started writing this book?
Of course not. No false starts ever. No dead ends. You know, I worked on a book for 4 years that I had to throw out, and I just kept working at it, and then I couldn't stand it another minute, and I packed it away. And this book, I mean, I really was kind of blue when I came back from that cruise, and then my mother broke her hip, and I spent the summer in rehab with her in assisted living. And the thing that you may not know about the retirement home experience is that the paradigm of 7th grade is forever in place. And even when you're 90, there's the cool girls and the untouchables. I had not quite realized that. And so, and every day that I was in the retirement home, I didn't feel a day under 93.5. And so caring for my mother, I would get up early and type, and it really amused me, and I needed to be amused. So really I wrote it in that summer, and it was a great gift to me because it felt like a gift, just sort of keeping me, you know, bubbling along and laughing. But so it really did kind of just come. I felt like I don't really believe that this thing exists, but it felt like sort of cosmic reparation for that really bad book that I toiled at for 4 years, and then there was just this one here. Okay, fine, here. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could recall the first teacher who told you, "You've got it, go with it, you know, you're a good writer."
The first teacher who told me that I was a good writer. Well, I overheard my college professor, he didn't say this to me, but telling somebody else that I would write a novel someday. I overheard that. So it was very potent, actually more potent than him saying it to me. And years later I told him that story, that I had overheard it, and he's from Australia, and he said, "Oh God, don't tell me that, I hate stories like that. The power of the teacher, no, I don't want to know, I don't want to know." So that was a really important thing to hear because it stuck in my head. And I mean, a novel's a daunting thing to write, and when it came time to write one, I thought, well, Keith Harrison thinks that I will, so I can, so I will. I think in 8th grade I had a really wonderful English teacher who was the most beautiful woman in the world, and I worshipped her, and I had a really really severe girl crush on her. You know, the kind where you sort of hope your parents will die painlessly, and then she will wrap you in her arms and cradle you, and you will both be bathed in the goodness of each other's, you know, goodness, and then you'll live happily ever after. It was that kind of, and she was very encouraging. And then I grew up, and, you know, I went to high school and college, and I wrote her a letter once and sent it off, but didn't know it ever got to her. And then my mother, a couple of years ago in the retirement community, said, "This is the picture of a new resident who's just moved in. I think we know her." It was her! Oh, we were reunited at last. And she has all her marbles. And so it was really, really good. And she said to me, I can just exactly see you, third row, second seat. Isn't that amazing? And she taught 30 years after that. Those teachers, they are divine beings. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much.
And that was author Jane Austen. I think Jane Hamilton, reading from and answering questions about her new book, Laura Writer's Masterpiece. And hope you enjoyed that. And oh boy, you know, I didn't want to ask beforehand. I didn't want to get stopped shooting, so I brought the camera in my pocket, didn't bring a tripod. So I'm jittery. I had it kind of holding it on a bookcase. I felt like Michael J. Fox, and she actually referenced Michael J. Fox during that selection she read. I was, you know, a little bit Parkinson-y there. Finally, I just decided to take some stuff out of my, take some cards out of my wallet and rest it up there, and it was rock steady for the last questions there. But anyway, Jane Hamilton, and she had, her material before she started reading was hilarious. I mean, that stuff was good, but the stuff before she read was even funnier, talking about teaching writing on a cruise ship, and has some good material. And before, she has not written any really funny novels. The Book of Ruth, if you may be familiar with that or not, was on Oprah's book club and is not by any means a comic novel. Kind of a story about desperation and violence, and the relationship between a mother, her daughter, and son-in-law, which ends violently. But anyway, so this is a clear departure from her earlier work, and she wrote it because she was in her mother's living situation after she broke her hip, and wanted to amuse herself. So anyway, that's how that novel came to be. And it's just about time to say goodbye. So I guess that's what I'll be doing. I used to be talking about that we're available on the internet, and I came home after my show the other day, and when the show's actually on the air, could not find it, could not see it. I don't know if it's a problem with the server or just worldwide demand to watch my show. Seems unlikely. But anyway, thanks for watching. Adios, so long, farewell, and see you in the funnies.